Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together with our distribution partners, clients, and prospective partners each morning, most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central. We want to review the grant, what it is, what it does, how it can assist all. But today, I think we're going to take a little bit of a different approach because I think that there's a fundamental problem. And the problem, quite frankly, is I think many of you who are our distribution partners are making it too complicated. The typical client wants three things: fast, simple, and free. And when you make things complicated, because they already have busy lives, they have other things going on, if you don't keep it fast, simple, and free, it is very easy for the client to get confused, disinterested, or just paralyzed. So let's step back for a moment and make sure just at the simplest level, you and I are clear on what we're doing together. So at the simplest level, we are, and I'm going to jump around a little bit as we cover this point, but we're on chapmanloanprogram.org. Hopefully you all see the page. We're a 501c3 nonprofit that received a grant to help create fundable businesses. We do that through the Startup Business Funding Package. What we do is we provide all the elements to have a fundable business. Because if the goal is to get funding for your business, not ironically, you need to have a fundable business. But here's where the problem often lies. You all are smart, educated, experienced, and people don't know what you know. And so if you overcomplicate it, if you don't keep it fast, simple, and free, people get lost. So what we've always recommended is educate them first, because they don't know what you know. What you know and what I know is there is a formula for funding that works 100% of the time. Any business that meets this formula is fundable. And if they don't, they're not. So it's a simple concept, but some of you are making it too complicated and not realizing that you're up at this high level of knowledge and experience, and most of your clients aren't. So how do you educate them? How do you help them understand what it means to have a fundable business? There's a few different ways. The most comprehensive approach is to teach them. And so we should have provided each of you already. If you don't have it, let us know and we'll get it to you. And you see our contact information here. But we should have provided each of you a PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is affectionately called the 10 mistake PowerPoints, the 10 mistakes that keep businesses from getting funding. So we don't sell them anything. We just teach them what are the common barriers, common mistakes, and then we can close that out, which we do in the final slide of the presentation of how the grant and the startup program can help them. So that's one way. Now, you could teach this in person, online, formally, or informally. But each of you who are distribution partners, you should have a number of other resources that we've provided. And again, if you don't have them, let us know so we can make sure you do. So what else have we provided you? We've provided each of you a press release that you can edit and brand yourself. And there's actually a YouTube version of the press release here on the page. So that can be very effective in communicating to people what it is that we do, you and I do. We also have provided you a proposal that is same program. We're not talking about a bunch of different programs. The goal is to create fundable businesses. So we're trying to reiterate, what does it take to be fundable, and then how you and I can help them. So you have the full presentation. You should have the press release. If you don't have any of these things or all of these things, let us know. You should have the proposal. We should have provided you an editable agreement so you can change it with your branding and even change the pricing if you want. So all the resources are there. But if the client doesn't understand what it takes to be fundable, then this is a distraction. Some of you are just making it too complicated. Remember, 3 words: fast, simple, and free. That's what most people want: fast, simple, and free. So let's just go through together briefly. If someone were to ask me, well, hey, I heard you guys got a grant to help small businesses get funding. How does it work? Well, right there, I have to make a decision. How do I want to educate them? Because I don't want to sell them, and I might burn myself out if I have to tell the whole story each time. So again, we encourage you, set up Zoom webinars, just like we have one right now, right, each morning to support you. What keeps you from setting up a daily Zoom every evening? Or some of you are doing twice a day, midday and then the evenings, where you're inviting them in to one of your scheduled Zooms so you can educate groups. But regardless of how you want to communicate it, let's make sure together now that you and I are on the same page of what does it take to have a fundable business. This is the formula for funding, and it's also what's provided by the grant in the Startup Business Funding Package. So what is the first thing that it takes to have a fundable business? And we're going in order. This order is relevant. It's not random. It's in order. The first thing that we need is a true commercial address. Now, again, I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version. If you want the full dialogue of why all this is relevant, you can go down here. But we need to have a true, unique commercial address. That address establishes where the business is based. Now, you could work anywhere you want from around the world and work remotely, but the address of the business matters. And so we provide that free. Secondly, we do need to be in good standing with the Secretary of State. If not, we're not fundable. And we provide that free. Thirdly, we need to have an EIN and a business bank account open. And again, through the grant, that's provided free. So these 3 elements kind of group together to create the foundation of a credible business. Now, you might come across some businesses that say, hey, I have all of those things. That's great. That doesn't exclude them. We're going to get into the next phase in just a second, the next 2 bullets. But if we don't have those 3, then we're not even on track to have a fundable business. Again, fast, simple, and free. You've got to simplify things because a lot of people don't know what you know. I've said that multiple times. They'll say, oh, no, I've got an EIN. I'm good to go. Well, you and I know that's ridiculous. That's the easiest element to get, and that alone is far from being fundable. But people don't know. So that's why you educate them, ideally, with the full curriculum. So through the grant, via the startup package, we start by creating a foundation of a credible business. If they already have it, it's great. We'll use theirs, not a problem. But if not, we're going to create that. So now we move into building fundability. The first element is to have a strong business credit profile. So we're not talking about personal credit. Get away from personal credit. We're not talking about personal credit. We're talking about business credit, trying to get business funding. In my opinion, this is a strong statement, which I shouldn't give. To chase after a bunch of personal loans is crazy. But going after business funding makes all the sense in the world. Businesses, of course, have much more borrowing capacity than individuals do. So if we're trying to get business funding, we need to have business credit worthiness. We do 2 things on this bullet here for free. First thing that we do is help make sure that their credit profiles are optimized. Now, everything that we do is legal and ethical, of course, but we want to be aggressive and optimize things. So what do I mean specifically? So we're going to go into their Dun & Bradstreet profile and make sure that it's optimized. Does it have all the information that's needed, and is it accurate? Everything from the industry code, of course, making sure the address is correct, and so forth, number of employees and so forth. So even the number of employees matters, right? And we help you identify the ideal number of employees. Having 0 employees or 1 employee is horrible. So we'll help you with that. Once we have the profile set up with like Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, so forth, then we add primary trade lines. People tend to get really excited about that. I guess it's more tangible to them. So then under the EIN, under the business credit, we're going to add primary trade lines. And we've talked a lot about this. That can be real estate. It could be a company car. We just got ours this past Saturday. We had a training on that Monday. Many of you commented about that. We can get you a company car. We can get every client a company car. We can get them company credit cards. So no, we're not distracting from the end goal of getting business funding, which is the bottom bullet. But what we're trying to do is build a fundable business, because it's kind of ridiculous, if not at least financial illiteracy, to think, oh, I can have a business that haven't established a creditworthy track record and I can go borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's crazy, right? So we start by building out business credit and adding primary trade lines. Works great. And these are primary, right? So that means these are trade lines the client can use. Then we get to the final step of building out a fundable business. The final step of having a fundable business, it's a bit more complicated. So let's spend a couple minutes talking about it. First, we need to make sure that we have financials. We need to make sure that the business can produce, for example, a balance sheet. You will run in, I know it, you'll run into clients that say, oh no, I don't have a balance sheet. I don't need that. Or I'm a new business. I don't have that. That's crazy talk. Don't let them convince themselves to be stuck in being unfundable. Every business going for business funding needs to have financials. We need to have a balance sheet, and we're going to help them do that. We're going to create a balance sheet which shows what? The assets and liabilities of the business. Now, you might come back and say, well, it's a new business, Tom. They're not going to have any assets. That's not good. We're going to add assets. And so with QUICKCASH, we literally transfer over $10,000. And then, of course, whatever they have from their initial deposit when they open their business bank account. So they will have assets. Now, maybe they don't have liabilities, but that's technically a good thing. So what we're doing here is transferring $10,000 over to them, creating financials, and now we can demonstrate, clicked one too many times, collateral for them to qualify for funding. So in short, once we have done these things, we now have a fundable business. This is what it takes. You'll run into clients that have objections, and one of the objections will commonly be that they have some of this, but they don't have all of this. Well, this is an all-inclusive list. All of these bullets need to be met. So there's 5 bullets that I have highlighted there, correct? So if you have one of the 5, are you fundable? No. 2, 3, 4. No, we need to have 5 of the 5. This is the formula for funding. And we teach it, right? So it's not like some gamesmanship where we say, hey, we know how to get funded, pay us money. No, we go tell the world, this is what you need to do to become fundable. We teach it for free. Remember, we said fast, simple, and free is what people want. We teach this for free. We don't recommend charging people to attend this course. We don't want to. We want to provide information for free. What's going to happen after they've been educated on what it takes to have a fundable business, and they've learned that a grant exists that's going to provide a bunch of things for them for free? What do you think is going to happen? About 85 to 87% of them are going to enroll with you, if you're one of our distribution partners, to participate. So then we can create a fundable business and go to funding, because of course that's the goal. But we go to funding after we have a fundable business. Now, there is a wild card. So let's say that you go educate and you have a client that says, yes, this makes sense. And we know that this takes what? This takes about 30 to 60 days to build from scratch. Now, if they bring some of this already to the table, then that can accelerate it. But normally it's 30 to 60 days. So let's say you have a client that says, well, that's too long. Fine. Go ahead and enroll them using your editable version of the client agreement. After they've done that, we take care of all the implementation. So you're not burdened with implementing. You're able to go educate and bring in the next client, which you're paid for, of course. With that being said, if they want funding right now, we can take them for funding right now. So as I scroll down, you see a category called grant resources. Underneath it is the link to enroll as a client, not what we're talking about, the link to get financing offers. That is what we're talking about. So it's just fine that while we're building out a fundable business to go after the large amounts of funding, we can certainly get them offers for interim financing. Also under grant resources, you'll find how to register for our daily webinars like we're doing right now. Again, we've talked about this several times. This is an on-demand YouTube version of the 10 mistakes, but we should have provided you, and if not, let us know, send us an email or call us or text us, but we need to make sure you have all the tools to be successful. And one of those is the PowerPoint to teach that if you want to, don't have to. I was talking to texting one lady this morning. She signed up. She's got an MBA like myself, and she signed up to be a branch. And she's like, well, I don't want to sell anything. It's like, great. We don't sell anything. We teach, we help. We don't need to sell anything. You know, we teach people the concept of what it takes to have a fundable business. We help them understand what that can mean afterwards. And then they make a decision. It doesn't really matter to us, but on average, 85 to 87% enroll. Success stories here. And then for any of you that are not yet plugged in as a distribution partner, strongly recommend you to do it, because then you can go out and help us teach, help us educate, and get paid for it. When I make references to teaching, one of the things I just want to clarify is it doesn't have to be formal. So you could just have a conversation with someone, but we provide you the tools to either do it very casually or to do it very formally. So with that being said, let's open it up for questions. We try to end early on Fridays, but ChapmanLoanProgram.org is your kind of one-stop resource site. You can learn about what we do, and if you want to have a fundable business, you click here. So if you're a distribution partner or not a distribution partner, this is a great resource site. Okay, so let's get to the question. So Jeanette says one word, address. So she might have mentioned that earlier and maybe I missed it, but Jeanette, you'll have to put some context around that one word message, address. So again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you got to type it into the Q&A. It's like a chat box. All right, Frizz asks, what are, I'm going to use my own wording of what Frizz is asking, what are the prerequisites to enroll? There aren't any. Well, that's not true. I lied to you. Technically, to enroll, the person is supposed to be educated before we allow them to enroll. So if you're working directly with us, we would ask you, Frizz, to do step 1, then you're eligible for step 2. If you're working with one of our distribution partners, they'll have a method to educate you first, and then they'll help you enroll. But other than that, there's not prerequisites. There's not age requirements. There's not geographic requirements to participate. Certainly not credit requirements. You can have a business or not have a business. So we don't set filters. Really, the only thing is you just need to be educated before you enroll, because we want to work with clients that understand what we're doing. And there's no surprises. I mean, we're talking about it right now, but we don't want someone to enroll and then all of a sudden they have unrealistic expectations. We don't want that. So we teach and then we engage. All right. So thank you, Frizz, for your questions. Shara's asking about timing. The question is a little more complicated what she typed, but let me try to paraphrase. So if we're taking a client from 0 to 60, normally we're looking at 30 to 60 days. If the client has some of these elements, of course, it could accelerate it. As I mentioned earlier, Shara, if the client needs funding before that time frame, at any point, we can come down here. Now, this doesn't magically make their business fundable, but it could give us some financing options while we're building that out. So hopefully that answered your question, Shara. Owen's asking a question about terms, and so you're right, Owen, and it's our fault. So we call it the Opportunity Fund but it's the same as being an educator. It's the same as being a distribution partner. It's the same as being a branch. All of those terms are synonymous. It's a distribution partner. So there's one role regardless of the label, and you access it right here, Owen. Sorry for the confusion on that. Shara asked about payment. So as a distribution partner, I'll use a generic term, you are paid daily $1,250, so same day, for each client that you educate that then plugs in. So it's same day. You don't have to wait 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or once a month, same day. Owen's asking about cost to the client, and the actual cost to the client is dependent upon the distribution partner that they're working with. So I can't answer those questions generically because it's up to each of you who are distribution partners how you want to set up the financial arrangement with your clients. All right, William's asking about a company car. Yes. So under business credit, we can add, well, we do add trade lines, primary trade lines. And as I mentioned, an example of that is getting a company vehicle. Why wouldn't everyone want to have a company vehicle? And I know there could be some unique reason, but in general, we all need a vehicle to drive. So why don't we put it in the company name so it's fully tax deductible? And then we can use, if the vehicle qualifies, for Section 179 of the IRS tax code that allows us to deduct the full amount up front. So it's incredible. Yeah. So I don't know why every one of you, why every entrepreneur wouldn't want to have a company car. And so we can get that where it doesn't report on your personal credit, reports under the EIN. It's a trade line, but it's also real. It's a car you can use. So yes, William, what you would do is complete step 2, and then we'll help you get a company car. All right, so I think we covered most of it, and we do try to keep this a little bit shorter on Friday. So let's just summarize, and we'll be back on Monday, and you know how to reach us otherwise, right? We're not going anywhere. But the bottom line is ChapmanLoanProgram.org is a resource site. For those of you that are distribution partners or considering becoming one, I just ask you, and I say this respectfully, dumb it down. You're smart, you're educated, you're experienced, but a lot of the entrepreneurs you talk to don't have the same experience, education, and intellect that you do. So we need to simplify it for them. Fast, simple, and free is really what they want to hear, but they need to understand that what we do through the grant using the Startup Business Funding Package is create a fundable business. And they need to understand what it takes to have a fundable business. And then, of course, we can go get funding. But so often clients will just want to talk about the funding. Well, the funding doesn't happen until you have a fundable business. That they're wanting to skip the essential step. We have to have a fundable business or there is no funding. And that's what we do. And then we facilitate access, whether it be the Chapman Fund or many other resources for capital to start to grow. So with that being said, thank you for your time. We hope you'll be back Monday morning. Bring a guest, bring a couple guests. If you are a distribution partner, go spread the word, help people get paid. If you're a prospective participant, in other words, you're looking for funding to start or grow a business, come to ChapmanLoanProgram.org. It's crazy simple. It's so simple. You'll click on this. It'll pop up a new page. Slowly, it'll pop up a new page. And all you'll need to do is just initial a couple places, and then we'll start working with you. It's easy, fast, simple, and free is what people want. And we're trying to get as close to that as possible. All right, thanks, everyone. We'll see you back Monday morning. Let us know if we can help you. Bye-bye.